All right, we'll get started. We'd like to welcome defending champion Nick Taylor into the interview room here at the RBC Canadian Open. Nick, hard to believe a year's passed since that dramatic finish last year. How does it feel to be back in Canada to defend your title?
It feels great. Yeah, I agree. It's Dave and I walked in, saw the big mural of us hugging, and we still can't believe it's been a year. So it's been a fun ride. It's been great to come back to Hamilton. Been here twice, most recently in 19, and I'm excited for the week.
How different does it feel coming back to a tournament? Obviously, you love coming to every year, but to be coming back as a defending champion.
Yeah, it's special. It's I wish I could be defending probably a little bit longer, but this tournament always means a lot to me and every Canadian in the field. The fans are so passionate, and it's been a lot of fun. Just walking around, obviously practicing, but playing. There's a lot of people out already, and it's been fun to engage with them, and hopefully we can put on a show again.
All right, we'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with Jason in the front.
What's been the reception like from the crowds as you've made your way through the 9 holes this morning?
Yeah, it's been great. The biggest change I would say since last year is obviously being recognized more, in context of a golf course now, especially at the Canadian Open. So yeah, a lot of pictures and signatures. It's been a lot of fun. I think our crowd's going to be pretty big the next couple of days with Rory, obviously, who always kind of has that following, and playing with Pendy. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Is it something when you're walking out there today where you're obviously anticipating those reactions? Were you nervous about it? Were you excited about it? It just had to be a much different day than any other Pro-Am you've ever played, I would imagine.
Yeah, I feel like the whole year's probably been a build-up to this, potentially, looking forward to coming back. And, I think tomorrow is probably the big day of anticipation, I would say. I didn't assume I was going to play with Rory, but I kind of had an inkling that they'd probably put us together, and with another Canadian, again, being able to play with Pendy is going to be a lot of fun. So there's going to be a lot of energy out there, which will be great. So I'm looking forward to that. I think Friday will be probably pretty crazy. Tomorrow, I'm sure people will show up in the morning, but looking forward to the next 4 days, obviously, but the next couple for sure.
Go to John and then Adam.
Hey, Nick. With all that being said, obviously you're very much the focus of attention this week. How do you stay focused on your game and having another solid performance?
Yeah, it's trying to manage time, which there's obviously more obligations this week. Being in Canada on top of that, but then being defending. So really trying to manage that, trying to manage rest, which I feel like I've done a decent job, but still for the rest of the week, gotta be smart with where I spend my time. It's hard to say no at times, but that's important, and just get as much sleep as possible. So the game feels pretty good. Had a week off last week to kind of recharge, and I'll do a little practice end this day, but kind of most important right now is just kind of staying as restful as possible.
Adam?
When you won in Phoenix earlier this year, what did that kind of do for maybe your mental psyche, just to know that it wasn't just going to be the Canadian Open and that was going to be it? You were able to win again on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I think it was huge for my confidence. If you want to call it validation to myself or anything, but and again, kind of the fashion that it was, being in a playoff, kind of do or die. Getting those situations, I felt more and more comfortable, and being able to perform has been great. So it was nice to get the season off. Obviously, it's a new format with it just starting in January. So getting off to a nice start was great, and it gave me a lot of confidence, especially coming off of a great year to kind of continue it has been great.
Right here on the right.
Nick, what kind of feedback have you got so far this week from the logo, and does it ever get old looking at the logo?
No, it's been so when everything kind of came out last fall, I've definitely got my handful of Hey Logo type stuff, which is really cool. And to actually be on site now, seeing it on flags, seeing it on some of the posters and stuff, it's one of those things that I don't know if I'll ever fully grasp probably the magnitude of that. It's so neat to have the idea, but to come to fruition is very cool. So it's been really fun to see that, to see, like I said, the big mural of Dave and I in our celebration. A lot of the stuff is kind of pinch me stuff, so it's been fun.
I'm sure as a sports fan, you always have these "I was there, where was I" moments. A lot of them are when Mike won the Masters in '04, for example. What have been some of those experiences like as you've kind of traveled around, and I'm sure people are stop you and, I was doing this when that putt fell, or whatever it might be. Any of them stick out, and what's it like just fielding all those all the time?
Yeah, I've said it recently. That's probably one of the coolest things probably in the past year of people just come up and telling their story and the emotions that have been tied to it. They came out with a story last night that we had been working on, but his name's Brian. He's a farmer in Saskatoon, and kind of told his story, and they had 2-3 months to track him down, and just stuff like that where people really remember and remember that moment. And I think, like I said, the logo stuff, that as well as stuff where I don't think I've probably fully grasped it, but it's just it's hard to think of words instead of obviously saying how cool it is, but it's I appreciate all the people that come up and tell those stories because it is a lot of fun to hear.
Lucas on the left.
Nick, you mentioned after you won last year, going back home to Abbotsford and speaking with junior golfers. I'm curious, in the year since you won, what those conversations might have been like with, young golfers, the future generation of Canadian golf now that you're a Canadian Open champion.
Yeah, I don't take that role lightly. I with our charity event last year, I did a little clinic the day after at Ledgeview and was able to interact with a bunch of them and do a little clinic, do some putting, did some, pictures and autographs and stuff. And, I try to remember myself in that position, not only golf, but I remember, I did a hockey camp and Naslund came out and, how big of a deal that was for a Canucks captain to come out and do that kind of stuff. So I try to think back to then if I can have any sort of impact to get somebody into golf and grow the game, and it's definitely important.
Got one on the right there.
Hey, Nick, over here. You Canadians, you obviously have leaned on each other every year. You'd all have to answer the
What do
question.
you mean, you Canadians?
Well, I'm one of them too. Us Canadians, you guys on tour. I wasn't going to loop myself in with that. But what does it mean to have those guys to kind of share the weight of this week? Nobody knows what it's like to be you, but, Mac, Corey, Pendy, we could sit here and name them all.
Yeah.
What does it mean to kind of not share the burden, but share the weight of this week with those guys?
Yeah, I think we've, a lot of us have done it the last 5 to 8 years. Adam and I came on tour at the same time. He's played phenomenal in a lot of Canadian Opens. Dating back when was at Shaughnessy, I think in 11. Max had great weeks. Corey, I played with him last year. Like we, I don't think we talk about a whole lot of the weight of the week, but we all know that we obviously desperately want to play really well. We know how important it is to us, but also the fans to root on the Canadian players. So I think I saw 28 Canadians here this week, which is obviously a record, but just really, really cool. And yeah, we're all desperately trying to play well, and I think it's one of those where we've tried to learn over time that you take the expectations away, you can try to perform at your best. When you try too hard, it's tough in that way. And I think if I relate to myself, last year the first round would probably be a big part of that. Trying too much, trying too hard, and really being able to let it go and kind of have that comeback made it even more special.
For years, we've heard the stories of Mike Weir taking you guys on practice rounds at the Masters. What does it mean for you that you're going to be that Mike Weir figure for a generation, if not more, of Canadian golf fans who that putt's going to be the biggest moment? Feel free to give them another one, but for now, that putt's the biggest moment they've got. What does it mean to you to kind of be that Mike Weir figure for your generation?
Yeah, it's obviously very special. I don't, like I said, a lot of this stuff, I think the years gone by so quickly, it's hard to probably grasp all of that. And again, when I think of myself with all the Canes out here, I'm one of the oldest now, I guess, of all of us. But we're all so close and we play so often together. I don't see it in that light with all of us together, but I'm not getting any younger, being 36, so there's going to be a crop of Canadian players come up here hopefully soon that are in their 20s, and if I can help them out as much as can, as much as Weir and Stephen Ames helped, me and others in the past, it's the more the better. So, yeah, I'm not feeling any younger, but hopefully I can have a few more in me.
Got one back right.
Hey, Nick. Just looking forward a bit here. It's looking like your summer is going to include an appearance at the Paris Olympics and then possibly coming back to Montreal for the President's Cup. Just what does it mean for you to be able to represent Canada, especially in light of sort of the past year where you've kind of become a national icon?
That's nice. Thanks. Yeah, that was a huge goal of mine, really to start the year when it was more within reach. Not there yet. It's some good golf for the next 3 weeks will definitely put me in a good spot to do that. But I would love to represent Canada. I think, we were actually at an outing yesterday, and I was talking with Lindsay Hamilton, had a Canadian bag, and I was just complimenting on her bag, and she was like, Rory said, I wish, I had as much passion about, Canadians do about their sport and just being united and stuff. And it's just, I really hope I can represent Canada at the Olympics. The President's Cup was also, later than that, but also at the top of the list to start the year. So I'm doing everything I can to do that. And I've kind of said earlier in the year, and I need to continue to do that, but if I focus on it, it's taking me and distracting me from things that I can't control. So I just got to do everything I can in my own power. And
then obviously last year's win comes in an intense 4-hole playoff, and then you win again in a playoff in Phoenix. Just what is it about, I don't know, your demeanor, your game that allows you to have success in those sort of crucial moments?
Yeah, it's taken work to be able to get in that mental state of focusing kind of in that present moment. I've done work with that over the years, and so I think when I look back at the Canadian Open, I take confidence from that, which only helped me when I was at Phoenix. And I think the combination of work or just enjoying that moment and be able to stay in that present situation, which we're trying to do Thursday morning all the way to Sunday, and for whatever reason I've been able to do it really well in those situations. So I hope for less dramatic finishes in the future if I win again. But no, it's been a lot of fun to be in those scenarios.
Kevin on the left.
10 years ago, you had a final round 63 at KFT Championship to clinch your card, and was just talking with Adam Hadwin, and he kind of drew a through line of that kind of setting up or being indicative of the clutch gene that you've had the last 18 months. When you think of your career and the progression, where does that round at Dyes Valley course kind of come into your mind?
It's huge. There was even Cam Young yesterday was talking about it, kind of through his career, what is he most proud of, and he just mentioned about playing well at the right time, and that was definitely the top of the list for me. It was even the Q School the year before, having it was 6 rounds then, but I think it was a 67 the final round. It kind of clinched some starts on the Korn Ferry Tour, and then I knew going into that week, that final round, I needed a good one, and it's one of those things where it doesn't happen very often, where you kind of get in that state, that zone, and you just let it fly and stay out of your own way, essentially. And that round, who knows where I would have been? I might have even got my card if I shot even. So no, that's definitely a career moment in a sense where it got me going in the right direction that I was trying to get.
And with President's Cup coming up, and what's your relationship like with Mike Weir and the conversations you have with him, kind of with the President's Cup imminent?
Yeah, whenever I see him, we obviously chat. We've had dinners together with a bunch of players that are, probably going to be on the team or hopefully on the team. So I'm looking forward to it. A lot of it is, he's like, you guys just stick to your own game and do it, and everything kind of will take care of itself. And that's, sometimes easier said than done for us because we desperately want to be on that team. But I think he knows how much we want to be on that team and how much it would mean to us. So I think there's not much to talk about. He knows how much we want it. So his best advice is, like I said, just keep your head down and continue what you can control, and the results will definitely follow.
Did you ever go watch him play as a kid?
I remember watching him a bit. My dad, she volunteered at the Air Canada Championship when I was out west at Northview, and so I remember watching 1 or 2 years there. It's probably about it, just because the Canadian Open hasn't been out west very often. But U.S. Open I'd played kind of later, 2008, 2009, and got to hang out with him a little bit. So, no, he's always been a big influence.
Matt, and then John.
Nick, speaking of the putt last year, just wondering, what is the putter that you have in the bag, and what's allowed you to find so much comfort with it?
Yeah, I speaking of actually big rounds, ironically, I started using that putter about 6 or 7 years ago, and I had a great final round at Wyndham to keep my card. Shot a 63, and that was one of the first few weeks I actually used that putter, and it went out of the bag for maybe a month 3-4 years ago, but it's been in my bag for about 6-7 years. So something I'm comfortable with. I'm not someone that changes equipment very often anyways, but I've had enough great putting rounds and successful events, years with it, that it's going to be in the bag for a long time.
And then lastly, last year's moment it can kind of be a blur when we think back on things like that. I'm wondering, when you think back, what do you remember? What sticks out? Maybe mental images, things like that.
Yeah, I think I remember most the chaos, probably, of the controlled chaos of the scene. I think the putt specifically of it going in. I feel like my distinct memory is seeing Dave charge at me, kind of his face, and then the rest of it's kind of a blur. I've seen the replay enough now that I kind of have that visual almost now instead of my own perception. But I've seen so many angles now. It's really cool to see different people's reaction. I feel like when my wife and I see it, we find a different person to look at and see how they reacted, which has been pretty fun.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to John and then one in the back.
Nick, you were just speaking about the President's Cup international team. Right now, you are in the top 6 in the international team standings, so you'd be an auto selection if it were tomorrow. Mm-hmm. How important is it to make Mike Weir's job easier and have more Canadians in the top 6?
Yeah, that's all of our goals, right? To take it out, put it on yourself to be in that 6 where you don't have to worry about a phone call, good or bad. I haven't been in that position. Good golf, good results in the next couple months. We'll take care of that, and hopefully I'm the one kind of waiting to find out who's on the team with me. So that's the goal, to not have to worry about that. But there's a lot of tournaments left, a lot of huge tournaments left. So that's the goal, and good golf will kind of take care of that.
And last one in the back there on the left.
Hey, Nick, you mentioned your putter. How much of an impact has Gareth Raflewski had on your short game overall?
Massive. It's been about 2 years now, maybe just over 2 years since we started working together, and he's been very clever in a sense of like slowly implementing certain things. And we went to that claw grip at the start of January last year, which has been made big changes. Results wise, so much out here. If you make one more putt around, it's going to make the world of a difference. And so it's trying to find the lowest hanging fruit of try to get some gains in there. And so the biggest thing is a lot of fundamental stuff set up, but also speed control has been huge. And no, he's been able to come up more and more and just kind of keep me inside the railway tracks there and not get off. And he's been a huge influence.
All right, Nick, thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Best of luck this week.
Thank you.